There are some drugs out there that live a kind of double life. One minute, they're the only thing standing between a patient and certain death. The next, their long-term use comes with a really heavy price. Well, today we're diving into the fascinating, high-stakes story of one of those drugs, Dantrolene.
Okay, picture this. You're heading in for a pretty simple routine surgery. You're put under anesthesia, but then something goes terribly wrong. Suddenly, your body just goes haywire. Your muscles lock up tight, your temperature shoots through the roof, and all at once the clock is ticking on a massive medical emergency. So, that nightmare scenario? It's a real, though rare, genetic condition called malignant hyperthermia. And the craziest part is, it's triggered by the very anesthetic gases that are supposed to keep you safe during surgery. It's like your own body turns against itself with terrifying speed. The very first sign is just awful. A powerful, full-body muscle contraction. And we're not talking about a simple cramp here. This is an unyielding, board-like rigidity, as if every single muscle fiber in your body is firing all at once, locking the patient completely solid.
Right on the heels of that, the body's internal furnace just goes into overdrive. All that uncontrolled muscle activity generates an incredible amount of heat, causing a super fast and extreme spike in body temperature. I mean, we are talking about a life-threatening fever that just keeps climbing, minute by minute.
So you put those two things together, the rigid muscles and the skyrocketing fever, and what you get is a complete metabolic meltdown. The body is just tearing through its oxygen reserves, pumping out massive amounts of CO2, and creating this toxic internal state that can lead to organ failure and, if not stopped, death. And here's the crucial thing to understand. This isn't an allergic reaction. No, it's a genetic defect, a flaw in how the body's muscles are supposed to handle calcium. So when someone with this genetic flaw is exposed to those specific anesthetic triggers, it unleashes this absolutely catastrophic chain reaction.
So, in the middle of all this chaos, with the operating room team scrambling and the clock ticking down, there's literally only one answer. Not just any old muscle relaxant, but a very, very specific and unique antidote that's tailor-made for this exact crisis.
And this is what makes Dantrolene so incredibly special. See, most muscle relaxants, they work up top, on the central nervous system. They tell the brain or the spinal cord, hey, calm down, stop sending so many signals. But Dantrolene, it completely bypasses that chain of command. It goes straight to the source of the fire, the muscle cell itself. Okay, so how in the world does it actually pull off this rescue? To get that, we need to zoom way, way in, deep inside the muscle cell, to see how Dantrolene basically jams the floodgate shut. Let me introduce you to the key player in this whole drama, the ryanidine receptor, or just RYR for short. The best way to think of it is as a microscopic gatekeeper that controls the flow of calcium inside every muscle cell. Now, here's how it's supposed to work. It's pretty elegant, really. A nerve sends a signal, the RI1 gate swings open. Calcium floods out from its storage tank into the cell. And that rush of calcium is what makes the muscle contract. Simple, fast, and perfectly controlled. But in malignant hyperthermia, that RR1 gate is genetically faulty. The anesthetic gas acts like a key that doesn't just unlock the gate, it breaks the lock, jamming it wide open. And this causes an unstoppable, catastrophic flood of calcium, forcing the muscle into that permanent, energy-burning state of contraction. And this is where Dantrolene comes in, to save the day. It literally goes in and physically binds to that broken gate, forcing it shut. It doesn't fix the underlying genetic problem, but it stops the calcium flood cold. This direct, mechanical intervention is what immediately halts the crisis and gives the medical team a chance to stabilize the patient. But Dantrolene's story doesn't stop there in the operating room. Not at all. Its unique power to quiet down muscles gives it a whole second mission, the long, quiet, day-to-day fight against chronic conditions. Because it's so uniquely effective at reducing muscle contraction at the source, Dantrolene can also be prescribed as a daily pill. It's used to manage the severe muscle tightness and stiffness, what we call spasticity, that can come from neurological damage in conditions like MS, stroke, or a spinal cord injury. And this table really shows you the drug's split personality perfectly. For malignant hyperthermia, it's an emergency, life-or-death IV injection that works in minutes. For spasticity, it's a daily pill for quality-of-life management that takes weeks to really kick in. It's the exact same drug, working the exact same way, but in two completely different worlds. But a drug this powerful, one that can reach in and interfere with the fundamental process of how our muscles work, Well, that kind of power never comes for free. This hero has a pretty heavy price tag when it comes to risks and side effects.
And we have to start with the big one, the most serious risk of all. When dantrolene is taken as a pill over long periods, the liver has to work really hard to process it. And for some people, this can lead to severe, and sometimes even fatal, liver damage. It's a risk that means patients on this drug have to be monitored incredibly carefully.
Now, because dantrolene doesn't really pick and choose which muscles it affects, its main side effect is a direct result of what it's supposed to do: widespread muscle weakness. This can cause a lot of fatigue and make daily activities pretty tough. Other things, like nausea, are also pretty common, especially when you're taking the pills. Okay, this one is a huge red flag for any medical professional. If you combine IV dantrolene with a very common class of heart and blood pressure medications called calcium channel blockers, well, it can cause the heart to basically collapse. It's a deadly combination that absolutely must be avoided during a malignant hyperthermia crisis.
So when you put it all together, that's the dantrolene story. It's truly a one-of-a-kind drug. It's an indispensable life-saving antidote for a terrifying surgical emergency. And it's also a helpful long-term therapy for chronic conditions. But all that power is matched by a profile of really significant risks that demand a ton of respect and careful management.
And all of this leaves us with the central dilemma, right? For a drug like dantrolene, the line between hero and hazard is just incredibly fine. It forces patients and doctors to constantly ask, how do we balance its undeniable, life-saving potential against its very real and sometimes life-threatening dangers?